So it's early November and we're digging up plants to ship out, and that means that some plants that hadn't found a home and we don't have a place to put them, or we just haven't decided on where to put them yet, need to be heeled in. So you might be wondering what that means, and we will show you in a minute. But first I want to digress a little bit. So there's a bucket here with some mulch on it. So how we store our seeds, there's a video we made a while back. I'll put a link to it right here. But how we store our seeds is we put them in a bucket with some drainage holes, holes that squirrels can't reach, or so we thought. They're 1/4-inch holes that we just drilled into the buckets, but one squirrel ate it to about, a 2-inch hole. So, and it got one of our black walnuts, but that's not that big of a deal. So what we do is we store them in buckets, as you'll see in that video if you want to go check it out. And then we dig a hole and put that bucket in the ground and mulch it. So that stratifies the seed so it gets activated next spring, in essence. So on to healing on. So these are American dominant chestnuts. We had foraged some seed from a local guy who had some trees from the American Chestnut Foundation. I'll also link to that video here. And we grew those out from seed. So these are some chestnuts that have American dominance, and what that means is they're mostly American genes, which, if you know anything about chestnuts, those are hard to find now.
Yeah, this still has the nut.
Yeah.
That's where it came out of.
Right, yeah, exactly. So we're going to dig these out of this air prune bed that we actually didn't make. It's not
convenient.
Right, exactly.
Very convenient.
So we're going to dig these out, and when we're done doing that, we'll show you how to properly heal in your trees. So we're healing in our trees. Basically, these trees need a spot for the winter. So what we did when we dug them up is we gave them a drink of water, let the roots soak for a little while. You can clean the dirt off if you want to, but we're just going to leave it on. And you put them in a big bundle, and you want to plant them basically like you're planting a bunch of trees. These are just going to be here for the winter, and they're going to be dug up in the spring before they wake up. So that's pretty important too. When you dig up your trees, you want to make sure that they're completely dormant. The leaves have either fallen off or they're just going to come right off like that. Chestnuts like to hang onto their leaves like, kind of like beeches. So then you're going to plant them at an angle. So they're slanted. Then you're going to really backfill as best as you can.
Make sure you press out that.
Yeah, tamp all the air if you can. And sometimes what we'll do is if they're bare root and we've washed all the soil off, we'll really sprinkle dirt in there and make sure there's no real air pockets. Because you don't want the air to freeze. You don't want it to get cold in there. And so yeah, and then you're just going to give them a good drink of water. And that water should soak in. We've got warm temperatures expected throughout the next few days, so they'll have a chance to really acclimate before it gets too cold. As you can see, there's still some snow right here in this garden bed, but that's not really that big a deal. It's just because it gets a little bit of shade, which isn't a bad thing. Because, sometimes trees will wake up too early in the spring. Say if they're planted on a south-facing slope, they get, some of those really thawy days in February that we get sometimes, and they'll start to put out buds, way too early. So this is a pretty good spot for them. So these are right next to some of our good King Henry, and we'll know where this is in the spring so we can dig them up and maybe send them off to some homes. So this morning we're doing some nursery work, digging up plants and shipping them out, but we're also going to do some planting out on areas that we've recently cleared this year. So we're trying to figure out some polycultures that are going to work, plants that will work together. This is a black currant that we planted here this morning. I mean, this spring. We put it, so it had multiple shoots. I'll link to a video here of how we did this, but it had multiple shoots. So this is a pot with the bottom cut off. So the idea is we're mound layering it. We talk about this in another video, but I'll talk about it in a little bit more detail here. So basically what mound layering is when a plant has more than one stem. Some plants do it better than others. Currants are one of those that do pretty well. What we do is, I wish you guys could smell this, nice and musky. But what we do is we stack a bunch of material, growing medium, whatever it is, sawdust, wood chips, soil, compost, whatever you want to do. We stack that around the stems, and these separate stems will hopefully have rooted and become separate plants. So we're gonna dig it up and see, what it's like to see if it rooted.
Another example is this one right here. You can see the multiple shoots. So there's one here, some more here. What we're gonna do is take this material from this plant and we'll mound it around here. We can do it all the way up here. A lot of times, even these areas will send off shoots, and then next year this top growth will start to grow up. This one had way more top growth, but our goats got to it. It was pretty high, but free range goats, what can you do?
Right. All right, so we're gonna dig it up and we're gonna see how it looks, and we'll show you if there's any rooting. Even if there's not, we'll still show you.
I was popping that up. I wanted to show you already this beautiful root system that's coming through. So yeah, I'm about to uncap it. Ooh yeah, that is what we want to see.
A couple of roots broke, but that's not that big a deal.
Yep.
Maybe that'll be another plant.
Yeah.
So should I cut this?
No.
No, just kind of slide it out.
And voila.
So as we clean off the soil, we should be able to see that there are separate.
And look at, there's already another shoot. I don't know if you can see that starting. So if we would have left it another year or so, but we want to get these established so we can have some fruits next year in their homes for ourselves.
So what we could do is we can find.
And there's another shoot too. Awesome.
Yeah, so we'll find this, for example. We can take this off. And
look at the snips for that.
I don't know if you can see this, but here's one root. This shoot has rooted and is now its own plant. So we'll find where this joins. Here's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, there you go.
So the bottom of this plant, the soil used to be here. So it had sent up, three separate shoots. This is one, and this is one. And then from mounding it,
it has created roots in its own plantings. So this could easily pop out. We're
so
gonna
now
get
one
snips
plant,
and cut it.
yeah, one plant is now 3. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is a good way to propagate plants. Certain plants do better than others, but most woody shrubs will take pretty well to this.
So this is some sunchokes to send out. We've got some beautiful elder cuttings. Healthy, that's what you want to see, the green. We've also got some beautiful high bush cranberry cuttings. The buds are gorgeous. And now we're gonna have some plants.
So there's one.
So here is one of the currant. And look at that root system. That's gorgeous.
And I'm pretty sure, not positive, I'm pretty sure these are consort currants.
Gorgeous.
Another plant. And this one, I mean,
We'll probably leave it.
you might even be able to cut it right here. Seeing as how there's some pretty good roots right above here, but I think we're just going to leave this and we'll plant this one out.
Absolutely.
I'll need to dig a pretty deep hole, but that's okay.
So right now we're just utilizing this mound that we've had the goats clear. It did look something like that in the background.
These mounds were made from the tracks of skidders. When they logged this whole area, this was a skidder path. I can tell by there's like lots of divots. They put lots of logs down where it gets wet so they could get out of there. So yeah, here's one divot here and another one here, which created 2 mounds. You know, the mounds are going downhill, so these will act as kind of water courses.
But what we're going to do is we're going to plant within the mound, and next year we're going to find a way to extend the mound, try to catch it this way by planting other things. We can put some mulch. We have a lot of mulch. You'll see that in the next clip.
Yeah, so I mean, we're just utilizing the mound that's already here, so that way the roots aren't going to drown when water does come down here, like a torrent, which sometimes it happens. We'll probably plant the black currants on this mound, and then maybe some elders on this one.
And we're just utilizing the forest. We're not separating our plants from the forest. These do great within the soil and within the ecosystem that's already created. As you can tell, we have really rocky soil. So the mounds for us right now are, because we have very shallow soil in certain areas, so we need to utilize what we can in order.
So the mounds will help us. I mean, you saw that root system was pretty big. The mound will help us. Hopefully, there's more soil here than there is down there, because it gets pretty rocky pretty fast. So it's basically like hugelkultur already. There's chunks of rotten wood here, which is awesome.
It's going to hold moisture. We have such drought summers now. It's very unpredictable.
And this soil is actually much moister than the soil that our nursery bed has, that we just pulled the currants from. You can see all these chunks of rotten wood. They'll act like sponges. See the moisture come right out of there? We haven't had rain in probably a week since we had that snow in our last video. That's the last precipitation that we had. So this is holding great moisture. You can tell it keeps its form when you squeeze it, but it's also nice and friable, falls right apart. It's beautiful soil, and it just smells great too.
So in the last clip we showed you that we're planting out Ben-Sirac black currants in this mound. So we're planting out these beautiful elderberries. Look at those roots. This is a shoot right here coming off. That's what's so great about them. This one even has a better root system. Look at that. And this is a 1-year cutting. Can you believe that?
Well, that's technically its 2nd year. It was a cutting last spring of 2019.
Yeah, so now it's a huge, amazing plant. So we're going to get to it. We're going to plant them out. So yeah, we're going to plant it on the 2nd mound.
Right, so hopefully the long-term goal is we've got these currants here. There's 4 of them right here, black currants. We mulched it pretty heavily, and we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to plant the 3 elderberries, and like Shakoya said, you see the shoot right here. Elderberries are like thicket-forming shrubs, so this wanted to come out and then go up again.
And it will.
And it will, yeah. So the long-term goal is to have a thicket of elderberries right here, and like Shakoya said in the last clip too, the land sloping this way. So kind of what we want to do is eventually, between these 2 mounds,
we're going to take debris from here. You can see all this, the cutting of brambles, if I could talk. And we're going to fill in here and connect this on contour to connect any water, hold water.
Right, so hopefully there'll be like sort of micro swales like that'll hold water and allow the water to penetrate into the ground. So we can sequester water. That'll ensure all these plants get beautiful, lots of water, and also it's going to help with rapid soil building too.
So yeah, we're going to get to it.
Yeah.
Alright, so we've gotten 2 planted out, working on the 3rd. There's 2nd, 3rd one. So this is an example of filling in with debris. We're taking just the brambles, the roots, cuttings of it, sticking it there. Another log, which will connect this to that mound, that one to that one.
Yeah, and eventually what we might do is even, so you see how these are mounds going this way. What we might do is dig this material and this material and bring them both here, so that instead of the channel going this way, directing the water down slope, this is a ditch basically. We might take this material and place it here, so there's a ditch here basically going this way, and the berm is right here where these plants are.
That's exactly what we're doing, and we're taking all of this waste material, see these logs, and instead of taking away from this soil, we're going to build soil and create food habitat for ourselves, while also utilizing this area that is no longer usable. There's just laying down logs, but they hold moisture, they have a purpose, they're rotting, they hold mycelium. So within these wood chips too, we'll probably inoculate it with stropharia of some sort.
I can also see us probably planting comfrey here.
Yep.
Comfrey is just a plant that we use all the time.
Especially building soil. It's a nutrient accumulator, it's nitrogen fixing, it's biomass.
Yeah, well, it accumulates nutrients, the roots go really deep down, and then it grows, the leaves grow vigorously all the time. So we chop them and drop them, and it decomposes super fast, and it holds a lot of nitrogen. So the really green leaves produce a lot of nitrogen as they compost too. So that and other plants like lupin, which isn't necessarily edible, but neither is comfrey. Lupin is a nitrogen fixer. It's a legume, so it takes.
It's a beautiful pollinator too, which we need.
Right. Yeah, it takes nitrogen from the air and puts it into the soil and helps build soil pretty quick too. So
yeah, we're gonna plant out this last one. We'll probably do a little bit more of this, and then we're gonna come and we're gonna mulch all of this. We'll probably put a couple more logs because they're just here, and we like to use this little path here behind this cave rock, we call it, because there is a cave within it. So yeah, an example of why we want to create hugel-like mounds holding water. We haven't had rain.
Well, no, that's a lie. We had a little sprinkle last night.
Yeah, but not that much.
So and this is all rotted wood, like, you know, it's like a sponge. It holds all this water.
And that's what we want for our droughty summers here in Vermont. So yeah. So I don't know if you guys can really see, but if I explain it, maybe it's easier. So there was this rotted huge stump we put there. Gonna connect that elderberry. Here's that one. We've already started to connect. There's some mulch there. So yeah. Agroforestry, permaculture design, ecological design. Pretty much just mimicking what Mother Nature does already and utilizing it so we can feed ourselves. Alright, so here is our mounds in the making. This is all just, we took some from here, took some from here. We're going to continue doing this, but we wanted to show you exactly what we're talking about if you weren't able to picture it. So now this currant and this elderberry are connected, along with that one, and those ones, and Michael.
Basically all where these sticks are will be mounds, and then in between will be sort of channels. So as the water runs down the hill, or as we're getting a downpour, the water will have a chance to sit here and not flow down.
It'll sit and soak.
Yeah, we'll top these with mulch, and eventually just keep topping them with organic matter, whether it's these brambles or comfrey and lupin, like we mentioned before, anything that we can chop and drop like that. And then eventually these will become, I mean, we can even use bedding hay, stuff like that. So eventually these will become mounds of soil, and then we can also plant on top of these mounds eventually too.
And as you saw in the beginning, we're just utilizing what the skidder from the logging crew did. And instead of looking at this land and saying, oh no, it's ruined, we're utilizing it and trying to heal it in a way that's working for us and the ecosystem. We're not taking anything away from any other animals. There's a lot of homes in these logs, and we're going to leave these logs. It's its own little ecosystem. We're going to work on these brambles. Maybe we'll introduce more cultivated brambles of, raspberries and blackberries. I got distracted.
And it's nice, like Shakoi was saying, we're trying to do this in an ecologically sensitive way, like a human scale way. Like, we're not bringing a big excavator or a big tractor in here and grabbing all that with machinery and just totally redoing the landscape overnight.
If we did that, the animals, the ecosystems, the mycology, the bacteria, everything that has to do with the whole system would not be able to catch up, and therefore it would be, it'd be like if your home was completely demolished and you just came and you didn't know what to do. I mean, you would kind of lose your mind and just, sit there in confusion. We don't want to do that. So we're doing this, and I hope whatever living beings that are here know that we're doing this for our own feed, and also birds are going to definitely probably glean any extra berries that we don't get, because you can never get all of them. So yeah.
So we're going to continue putting a little bit of mulch and debris on these mounds to be, and
then we're going to go plant out some red currants.
Yeah, and we'll show you guys an update on this next season as things start to grow too.
Oh, Coda.
It's a little tough to see, but here's the end product for this winter. It's actually really tough to see. So there's, maybe if I can get down, you can sort of see the layers here. So here's a black currant right here. There's a mound right there. Ditch, ditch, mound, ditch, mound, ditch, mound. So if I walk here, I guess that's a easier way to see it. So yeah, there's another black currant right here. There's an elderberry. There's a mound in between. Black currant, I mean. Where am I? I get confused on where my finger is and where I'm looking. So there's another black currant, and there's an elderberry. Here we go. Black currant. Here's the elderberry, that little stick going this way, and there's a mound. And then here's another black currant. There's that big elderberry right here, and there's a mound. So I think what we're going to do in the next season or so, this is how it's going to be probably for the winter. Yeah, it's really hard to see the definition on the camera. Yeah, you think?
Give it a try.
So here's a mound right here, another one right here, and another one right there. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave this for the winter, let the snowpack help pack it down, and then eventually, like next season, next spring, once some of these wood chips have rotted a little bit, we will take this material right here and put it along that mound. So the ditch is right here, and then it kind of comes up to this mound that we planted on, and that mound that we planted on. So there's mounds going this way, another one going this way, and then there's these ones right here.
And the reason for the in-between is to actually catch the water instead of channel it down. We want to hold the water. We want the water to seep in. We want these rotted wood logs and stumps to hold the water through summer, which we, from experience, know that it will. So,
right, yeah, because the water is one of the most erosive forces on the planet. So if water keeps going through these channels, it's going to make these ditches bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so we're trying to heal this, but also have functional food systems, and fruits especially love water. The more water they get, the sweeter they are, the juicier they are.
Right, yeah. So I think
Elderberries and our medicine for our food. We have Benserac and we have York elder. This we'll make syrups out of, we'll make jams out of, we'll freeze the fruits, we'll dry even leaves for tea. So this is a multifunctional, every year we'll be working on this just to create better systems that are functioning with the ecosystem, but also healing. So this is our attempt at holding more water.
yeah, you can see Chicoy's in a ditch right there.
Yeah,
And
so
then
this
put
is
your
the
foot
ditch,
on that mound.
and then this is
There you go. Yeah, so now you can see. Now keep walking.
ditch,
There you go. Ditch, mound.
ditch, mound.
All right, perfect. So now you can see the definition a little bit. So I think, like I said, next year, I think what we'll do once these have rotted a little bit is take this material right here, even the earth, and try to really create these mounds and these defined swales is technically what they are. They're not ditches.
Because on contour too. I mean, this is all sloping down. So when you have on contour, people try to really make it more difficult than it is. But you look at the contour of your land, and you know that, okay, this is a hill. It's coming down. You want to catch water this way. You're not going to want to channel the water down and lose that water. You want to hold that water within your systems.
Right. So technically, these are swales, and I think the definition is something that directs water is a ditch. Something that retains water is a swale. So these are basically on contour water retention mounds, basically. So you can see Coda's walking up a hill right now. The water would be coming down toward me, And every time it hits, I mean, in this rock is even beneficial because we can make another mound right there. So, every time water comes down or even rains down, it'll be held in these ditches, these swales, sorry, not ditches, these swales, and it'll get a chance to seep into the mound. And these plants will always have access to moisture. Even in dry periods, these mounds will be moist underneath because of that, because of the rotted wood that we've put into there. So they will always have access to moisture without being drowned.
Also, these plants in the last clips we showed, all 4 of these plants are from one plant that we mounded and had sprouts come out of. So while we're, like Michael was saying, taking that dirt and piling it up, we're going to mound it, we're going to have more shoots. We can make more divisions for ourselves to make more systems like this. Maybe we'll make some across the way, maybe we'll make some lower. But the thing is, we want to have food, a lot of food, and we want to be able to share that food. We want to get ourselves situated, and then we want to situate it for other people.
Right,
so
these...
another point.
Yeah, so these systems are going to be in place for a long time. These are not temporary systems. These are, this is small-scale earthworks, I guess you could say. Even though we're not moving earth right now, we're just laying down the base layer. And then as time goes by, we can, shape the earth to where it can be beneficial to us and to itself. Because if you leave nature to its own devices, not that it's not beneficial, but sometimes when you leave nature to its own devices after a disturbance, that's when things can get challenging.
Also, a lot of people think that humans are a plague on the earth. Depending on which way you choose to interact with the planet, you can be, our system has always had human interaction for beneficial reasons. Permaculture has been something that is old. It's recently coined a name, but it's been something that humans have done for a really long time. So humans are meant to be within these systems. We just have to work with the land and be Earth's stewards and not work against it, and then she'll work with us.
Right. Humans have affected their landscapes wherever they've gone. So we just have to make the conscious choice whether we want to be a beneficial force or a destructive force. So hope you enjoyed our ramble, and I hope you kind of take something from this video. And if you guys have any questions or if you have any suggestions even, we'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section below.
Also, I'd like to know what you guys are doing in your systems and what you're doing, whether you live in a town or if you live in a little suburban area or you have a tiny backyard. What are you doing to grow food and to be a little bit more self-sustaining in these times?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to go plant some red currants.
Yeah, so give us some feedback in the sections below, and let's start some conversations on how we can all be more resilient in these trying times. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.